the basic takeaway is stay in master and do your switching to core through Revolver and open up separate content editors, and then you get a really nice workflow where you have that environment of it. And the other thing that I guess I'm a bit biased with Revolver, I really thought creating the scripts was really simple. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. You throw it into the script, you can throw it in with help text and command syntax in the content item, and it looks just like a command. And it's just a really nice way to build up some functionality. You go there.
Yeah,
like, yeah, a coworker said, well, why isn't it make dir, for making a directory? So I built a touch that hit -t template common folder and bound it to make dir, and then you put a little syntax below. Yeah, where's that? Yeah, then you put it. Yeah, go to click on the ETR. Go down. Yeah, so you can have the usage, the description, the comments, and all that appears. And it looks almost indistinguishable from the other commands. So you can start to really build out the library of functions or have them call each other. I also have some really bizarre examples of generating. I mean, he's also the guy who's really into doing test-driven development on Sitecore, and particularly complicated integration tests. So he uses Revolver a lot to build, randomized test data. If you want to build a million items. Now Sitecore 7 has a feature to do that too. If you want to build really large sets to test scalability of, I don't know, let's say modeling frameworks or whatever. It's going to be really useful for that.
Hey Mike,
Yep.
What was your sense of the community around Revolver when you were doing your research? How big of a community did you find?
I don't think there's much going on in the United States with Revolver. I think there's some stuff happening in Australia. I don't know if there's much happening in Europe. What's your sense on that, Dan? I mean,
I didn't see, I didn't see a lot out there. I know Alistair's been sort of plugging away at it,
right.
And hoping, and I don't know. I wonder how many sold it at 3,500 Australian dollars. You don't have to sell many to have a good year. But no, I have not seen much mention of it here.
yeah.
I certainly looked at it. I couldn't imagine going to my boss and saying, "Can you drop $3,000 for this really cool tool?"
Right, and it just went open source and free just like a year ago.
It's not open source yet. It's
It's
free.
not open source?
It's free. He's promising to make it open source. He wants to clean it up, which is famous last words. So I think I'm going to start bugging him and say, "Come on, we'll clean it up. We'll do pull requests. Give it to us."
I saw open source on his slides from Sitecore Symposium from a year ago.
Yeah,
So
no,
maybe.
his latest, he says, in the one that announces it, he said, I'll make it open source soon. But right now, it's free, but not open source.
Okay. I retract what I said at the very beginning.
Something that .peak can't fix.
Yeah,
There you go. Exactly.
Peak now has export libraries, so you can just make a solution out of.
Oh, they finally caved on that.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nothing like violating the
We
law.
all have our own. Not that we would ever do that.
No, never.
I have a bit of a question directed towards Rick. You mentioned that you were pretty adamant about not putting this on a consumer machine. Does that include hiding it through securities to make sure that non-admin and
No. This means those DLLs do not make it to production equipment.
Okay.
Because it could be, it happens. People hack Sitecore sites. Anyone, control built with looking for Sitecore sites and get in and hope they find one of these tools. And basically, every single security system that's built into Sitecore is now null and void.
I don't think that's true. If you are logged in as a user who does not have authority, you will not be able to see the items. So it's not running a security disabler. So I mean, I'm not debating your fundamental point, but I do, as a technical point, it is respecting your rights. If you can't see the home item or you can't edit it, you will not be able to edit it.
Honestly, I would expect that if it's going through the Sitecore API, that's good news. But the question is it respecting locking?
Right.
Is it respecting workflow?
Sure.
Is it respecting the file system?
Sure. The other thing I want to add is that there is a security feature, but it can be annoying. Whenever you edit an item, it automatically bumps the version. You have a flag to turn that off, just so that you don't. Because danger of, I got the syntax wrong, and now I've changed rendering on every single field in my content tree. Well, at least you bump versions, and that gives you some way to roll it back.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even necessarily that they can't see or can see an item. It's the fact is they have effectively, string level access to every field that they have access to.
Sure.
Which is stupid dangerous.
But also to explore that a little bit more, like might give admin access to somebody who deserves admin access to Sitecore, but maybe I didn't want to give them PowerShell access to the whole machine.
Sure.
And it sounds like that's what they're getting.
Yeah.
So that would certainly be a concern, because once you have the PowerShell access, you can
It'd be
get to
interesting
the
see,
operating system.
On some level, it's running as IIS app pool, whatever the app pool name is. So in theory, it has very restricted access to the machine.
Yeah, I tried to run something else out of my website root and it was bombing out because I didn't have had access to it. And I also tried to import something from an Excel spreadsheet using the COM objects. Wouldn't let me do it because I didn't have access to it.
I see.
There's a lot of bad Sitecore installs out there, Will, where everyone has full permission to the INET pub root.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe if they can't take the machine down, they can fuck your website pretty good, though.
Yeah. Can I show you one last cool trick?
Yep, sure.
CD.
My prompt is messed up.
It does that. That's a glitch. It does that. I don't know. I have no idea why it does that. But CD colon lowercase j a hyphen capital JP. And now do Cutfields. G. And now you're Japanese.
Oh, awesome.
Dan, you're a walking textbook.
This is really Dan's presentation?
Yes. You really dug deep into this. It's
You
awesome,
did
man.
PowerShell. I did the wrong. I got a little too much of it over the weekend.
Should collaborate.
We should.
Yeah.
So it's case sensitive, huh? It's kind of
I don't know.
Revolver is case sensitive, PowerShell is not.
interesting.
Unix is case sensitive.
But so much of the Sitecore API is not.
One last cool command.
Okay.
Go
Grep
for it.
space version space less than and then parens help.
That's it?
Now you get all the commands that deal with versions.
Oh, cool.
You have this written down, right, Dan? Your notebook?
I said I got a little too.
You wrote it in his hand, he's looking at it.
Late night tweets. But that's a really helpful one. And I was trying to figure out how you could set back the version because I was freaking out.
So aside from hydrating an empty tree or fixing a bad master, what are the practical uses for this thing?
Well, the expand token thing is one example. You can expand a bunch of tokens on things that have bled through because they were added before you added the tokens. That's an example. I mean, the sky's the limit. It depends on your creativity and what you need to do. I haven't explored everything. But just think about it. I mean, you can do mass updates on things in your project tree. You might not want to do that, but you can.
Yeah, one of the things I saw, that I thought of when I saw the video was, for me, because originally it was a 5.3 system, we have all these media tags everywhere, the old media, whatever. We needed to update them for that reason. So to be able to kind of write a function and do that is really good, really helpful for me because it's not, every so often you find something that you're like, oh God, I can't believe it still exists in content somewhere.
The only thing I think you lose with doing something like that here is you don't have transactions, whereas if you wrote code behind for an ASPX, you could wrap it in a .NET transaction and be able to back it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where PowerShell comes in handy. You can do that there.
Could you do
This is
that
for-
in the
this is for
custom
Cal
class
Ways.
that you built around this?
I would imagine, yeah, but at that point in time, I mean,
You're sort of going down this risk. Yeah, in his blog, he talks a lot about Alistair's. It's this is for you have to do something sort of silly and stupid, okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff that got presentation that got put on items that needs to move to templates, or there's this or that, these kind of late in the implementation requests where you have to move stuff around. And there are other tools that do that, but I mean this is something for that kind of one-off but very labor-intensive fix. You now have a
You know,
scripting tool.
what I think would be cool is kind of like the way Hedgehog did it with Razzle, is provide an install package and an uninstall package. So you can drop this on, do what you got to do, and then make sure it's not there anymore.
Sure. Like a rollback script, right?
Yeah, I think they're using like update kits because Hedgehog likes that.
Right.
This also predates serialization, predates TDS, predates Sitecore 6. So it got the ball rolling with like moving content to the
It'll be interesting to see where it goes once the open source is in.
He's got to do it if he wants to have a shot of battling the PowerShell, which I think he has a little bit of ego invested in this.
On the other hand, this is just, I still feel this is such a backdoor in the Sitecore.
You know, too, though, you don't have to use it for production. A lot of times, if you're just looking to see if I were to do this, you know, what's going to happen with content. You're in your local environment. You don't want to build an entire like control and do core add buttons.
Sure.
Agreed, but you have to install a package to get this running. Depending upon how you're using source control and how you're running it on your local environment, you could accidentally put this in a place that it will end up on production, not necessarily knowing.
Well, you can also get bad code up to production too. You just gotta be responsible.
One other thing, the PowerShell has a plugin for rocks. So I don't know if that allows you to, I would imagine DLL will still have to be on the environment, but I don't know for sure. But that gives you kind of, at least you're outside of the content. You're outside of the desk.
Yeah, I mean, that would actually, if Revolver worked inside rocks,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, do it. Because it seems to be a little bit easier and more full-featured than Sitecore Query. Yeah, so PowerShell, the rocks would also be included in that.
Any other questions?
But yeah, it's cool.
Or comments? Thank you.
Nice job, Mike.
All is going to be somewhere to see, or
Yes.